We are live here in Atlanta, Georgia, to bring you special post-debate analysis. It's the first time that President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump have faced off since the 2020 presidential election, and it's the earliest a debate has ever been held in an election year. Of course, those debates are usually held in September, October, just a couple of weeks out from polling day. But this year, as we've been saying, a year of firsts. The first time that the two parties have gone outside of the Commission on Presidential Debates to make their own arrangement with a media organisation, in this case CNN. We've just been watching the debate there, an hour and a half from both of the candidates. Let's get some reaction now from our panel. We're joined by former members of Congress, Stephanie Murphy, a Democrat from Florida, and Rodney Davis, a Republican from Illinois. We've lots to talk about over the next hour and a half, and we will get to everything, but if I could just get a first brief thought from yourself, your first reaction. Stephanie, we'll begin with you.
I think that it was what people expected out of the two candidates, in the sense that there were moments where President Biden did show his age. It was difficult to understand him. But on the other hand, former President Trump continued to fill his response, not answer the question, and fill his responses with things that weren't exactly true. And so I know that when they go to fact check this debate, it'll be interesting to see how much was not true about what he said. Although what I will have to say is that if the Biden campaign had wanted to use this to draw contrast, I'm not sure they got the contrast that they wanted, because it did highlight the more senior elements of the current president, while the format where they cut off the mic actually helped to mitigate and keep a more measured Trump.
And Stephanie, when you mentioned there Joe Biden and those moments, did you find that that was difficult to watch at times?
When I watch these things, like many people who are in politics, you kind of watch it with two screens. One is on social media and kind of watching other people's responses, as well as watching what is going on actually. And what I would say is that I think there were a lot of people who were concerned with the inability to really understand the current president very clearly. And I think we'll see how this goes as the days go on and people look and analyze the election. But I think there were equally as many concerns about some of the falsehoods that were pressed by the former president, as well as his unwillingness to say that he would accept the outcome of the next election.
Rodney, what's your kind of first thought from what you've been watching there for the last hour and a half?
Yeah, the contrast was clear. It was a clear win for President Trump. And frankly, I think he solidified his position as the front runner in this race. As a matter of fact, when you talk about fact-checking a debate, how do you fact-check someone who just doesn't make sense? I mean, is that considered a lie, or is that considered accurate? I mean, well, how do you do that? And that is exactly what the world witnessed today. It was a disastrous debate for President Biden. I will give him credit. He got better as the night went on. I don't know why, but he did. And in the end, if you look at that initial debate performance, it was one of the most disastrous at the presidential level, let alone the congressional level, that Stephanie and I participated in. But millions more Americans witnessed it. President Trump did execute discipline, which is something that we as Republicans are not used to. And I agree with Stephanie. The format actually helped President Trump. I think CNN thought if we cut off his mic, if we make it a silent room, that's going to make sure that we don't allow him to interrupt President Biden. They should have let it happen. That would have made people actually believe the perception that President Biden was putting forth. that Donald Trump is too unstable to be president. And unfortunately for him, and unfortunately for Democrats across America, the format that CNN put forth did help the president, President Trump. And I again believe that he's the clear front runner after tonight.
Okay, well, we'll discuss the format in a little more detail a little later on, because you've both raised the point there about how there wasn't really any live fact-checking going on. The moderators were just asking questions, the time would pass and they'd move on to the next question. That did benefit both candidates at different times. We heard a lot of discussion about foreign policy, as we had been discussing previously, that we were expecting to see that. Specifically, the war in the Middle East was a prominent topic, of course, alongside Russia and Ukraine as well, but particularly there was discussion about Joe Biden's handling of Israel's war in Gaza, and that has been met with criticism from supporters within his own party, of course. He did reiterate his strong support of Israel while defending the limits that he has attempted to impose on it. But Donald Trump said it was time to finish the job.